Yeah, I'm keen to know because you were really young at that time. What triggered that thought to do something like that? Because that takes guts, that takes courage.
I just thought, hey, many other guys had some sort of a similar opportunity, and why not me? And to that extent, I also look out to other guys who've done even bigger and bolder things than what I'm working on right now. And it's always a case of, yeah, why not me? That sort of pushes me on to just do things which are not, I guess, so standard against the grain. And yeah.
Welcome to today's episode of The Entrepreneur. My name is Nana Kapoor, and in each episode, I have real unscripted conversations with an entrepreneur or intrapreneur. The biggest common denominator with all my guests, they are serial thinkers and full-time introspectors. I ask them two big questions in each episode. One, the worst decision they have ever made. I want to hear from them how their bad decisions turned into lifelong lessons. Two, the best decision they have ever made and how it's become their life mantra. Post-listening, I hope you find some food for introspection and find the answers from within to meet your personal and professional goals. Are you ready to become an entrepreneur?
Hi guys, on today's podcast, we have Ashwin Tiwari. Ashwin is the founder of adakerja.com, an app that helps micro, small, medium enterprises or MSMEs in Indonesia, also known as UMKM. They recruit staff, manage attendances, and perform payroll. It is the leading platform for the blue-collar category in Indonesia with over 700,000 members. Ashwin has previously worked at LinkedIn and the commodities and consulting industries before. He's young, hungry, he's a new father, and is working on providing jobs for the next billion people. I'm looking to learn from him with you guys on some of the best and worst decisions he's made, so let's hear him out. We are also giving away one free mentoring session to a lucky listener in this episode. So remember to read the description on how you can win a free mentoring session with entrepreneur Ashwin Tiwari. Hey, Ashwin, thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Nana. Thanks for having me and including me into your pretty cool list of previous attendees. So very happy to be here. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, as long as someone has started a business, I feel like they're really cool. So let's get into the first question. Yeah. Ashwin, what would you say was one of the best decisions you made in your life?
Well, I had to think quite deeply about this. And strangely enough, it was something that happened to me very early on. I was 16 or 17. I just finished my O-levels and I decided to cold email the coach of one of the leading junior colleges here and to ask for a soccer trial because my grades weren't good enough. And he replied, come today at 3 p.m., which was just a few hours from the time I sent him the email. So I packed my bags and I don't think there's even Google Maps at that stage. I just had to figure out a way to get down to the school. And I said that was one of the best decisions because everything that sort of happened after that has really shaped me in a really interesting way, taught me about figuring stuff out, what to do. And so, yeah, I will attribute it to that.
Yeah. I'm keen to know, because you were really young at that time, what triggered that thought to do something like that? Because that takes guts, that takes courage.
I guess it's a question of some sort of bravado. And I think the other perspective as well is why not me? Why was I the guy not good enough to be in that college or in that school? I mean, my grades were not that much off, just a wee bit off. But the reality was I just thought, hey, many other guys had some sort of a similar opportunity and why not me? And to that extent, I also look out to other guys who've done even bigger and bolder things than what I'm working on right now. And it's always a case of, yeah, why not me? That sort of pushes me on to just do things which are not, I guess, so standard against the grain. And yeah, that's really what was the first reason why I just decided to drop him that email.
Yeah. Would you use a similar approach today for business or for personal reasons? Did you have the confidence to just go up to someone and ask them for something that you potentially deserve?
And I think that's really why I listed that down out of all of the insane or interesting things I've done, because it just taught me and it built in me a reward loop or mechanism. So that sort of behavior was rewarded by me getting into the school and met this incredible group of friends and so on and so forth. And that sort of took me into even how I got to university. I created some, random t-shirts, get on the news, and that got me into business school. And again, my grades were not that, good enough. And then consistently, even with business, I remember even with no one wanted to fund us to pivot into Indo. We were, in a beta in Singapore. And I was like, why not me? So I literally just old school, took a flight, had a suitcase, walked into WeWork and took up an office space. And I said, okay, I'm going to have to put bumps on seats here. So it's just always this, just keep pushing. And challenging yourself, and why not me? I guess that's probably the thing that sort of stuck true from that one email when I was 17.
Yeah, why not me? I really like that. I want to touch base a little bit more on that thought where you say, why not me? And you really go all out to try and get it, because I think that drive or that mentality is just incredible, right? Are you ever afraid of rejection? Does that ever bother you?
Frankly, not so, but it's again a learned sort of process, I guess. I'm thinking back when a bit younger, what are the things that I did? And yeah, just so many weird things that happened. I remember just to earn some pocket money, I did a whole bunch of things when you're younger. And so all of that processes just give you some sort of resilience. And yeah, I don't think not much of a fear of failure. But I think the difference also is when the stakes are higher, you have to recalibrate as well. So I think right now where I'm operating, I'm not in that, mega biller type of range. But even when the stakes got a bit higher for us and the sums of money got a bit higher as well, I found myself thinking that, hey, I just got to keep evolutioning the way I'm thinking about these things. So it's always there. It's not like that fear, that feeling does not exist. It's just about how quickly and calmly you can deal with something like that.
Yeah, nice. So it's almost like you are using the scale or whatever you're working towards to. It's almost a drive for you rather than creating a fear in you.
Yeah, I guess I would think so. It just goes into, I mean, look, you have a very sporting inclined family, right? Most of your listeners may or may not know that, but that's even how it got me to think about playing football for Singapore. It was like, why not me? And then you just go through a series of processes, and yeah, so there was definitely that drive. For sure, there was fear, but yeah, my parents would tell me that I was just always that kid that wasn't so afraid or something like that. So maybe that's something that just stuck with me, I guess.
Yeah, I'm the sort of person who was never the most academically inclined. My most of my career has been quite offbeat, off track. Also because I approached someone on LinkedIn and said, "Look, I can do this job for you," or it wasn't through job apps that I was that one selected top few. I remember I really wanted to try my hand on consulting at some point, and looking at my CV at Deloitte, they didn't shortlist me. So I sent a message to the regional head and I said, "Look, I have these capabilities. Will you interview me?" And she's come into my office tomorrow. And that for me was just, wow, if you really want something and you think that you're worth it, you will try on these different ways of getting it done. So I get what you mean, but I don't think I have that fear of rejection. I'm just going to go for it if I think that I'm worthy of it. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I guess that's why you do what you do, right, Nana? I think to a certain extent, God is fair. The universe is orchestrated in a way where you can always find your own interesting corner and do some interesting stuff. So yeah, I guess that's how I look at things sometimes.
Nice. I like that. So that was one of the best decisions you made, and it opened up so much for you till today, right? So let's go on to some negative yet a bit of positivity in there, hopefully. What would you think was the worst decision you made, and what do you think you learned from that?
I would say maybe two key things. The first thing that comes to mind was, again, really young, choice of school and things like that. And it's interesting how in your young sort of formative years, a lot of those things, kind of shape who you are. So me now also thinking about parenting, it's getting me really thinking about, hey, how does all this sort of make you into the person you are? But I think generally those things have always turned out to be good decisions in hindsight. The ones that actually sometimes have not are more work related. And I think they're more so people related, and where you have this, and I think this is one of those occupational hazards for growing up the way I grew up. And let me just unpack that a little bit more. So one of my mantras is that I got to a lot of places because people gave me opportunities. Similar to your story, someone saw that and said, yeah, this kid, let's just give him a shot. And it's great that when you come out good on them, they feel happy, and I think they will remember back in their career where someone gave them a shot. And I think that's how the world goes around. But when you take that into hiring folks and trying to grow your team, you get a bit more lax. You think that you give everyone the same opportunities because you had them yourself, and left unchecked, basically you just sometimes made some not so good people decisions. And probably that's what it was. I was not able to separate the romance and by romance I mean the intellectual romance and all of that against, hey, clearly there isn't something that's working here, and thought I could coach them into some way or give them an opportunity into another path. And yeah, so I guess that's probably where the mistake, they were not so catastrophic in that sense, but I always look back and go, oh man, if I just, did that a bit sooner or changed the team structure a bit earlier, I would have saved the money aside. I would have probably just saved a lot more time. I would have learned things a bit sooner. And so that would probably be, I would say, the area in which decisions could have been better.
Yeah. How has that changed the way in which you deal with people, whether it's hiring, whether it's doing business? How has that changed the way you do these tasks now?
I think there's a bit more of a pragmatic side to me. I've obviously still not lost the emotional side in terms of really wanting to invest in people because of the way people have invested in me. For example, I think just a bit more clear as to if things aren't working out, even things like legally, contractually, you have those things sort of like ironed out, and also the mechanics of figuring those things out are straightforward. Having a clear sort of process in like people processes. So we, as a small company, we already have a people leader. She's doing an incredible job. We have some structures in place to manage that out. So I think that's one thing that I learned. And then the other is double, triple, quadruple down on people I love working and enjoying working with. And partly because it's actually much more rare to really enjoy working with someone. Then you have this great person you work with. Then there's a team of people who you really are okay working with them. And then when you do this sort of analysis, you realize that, hey, there's only 10% of the people you interview are going to be in that category. So if you find them, promote them, give them pay rises, just make them extremely happy, and obviously with a lot of respect, for them and their families and things like that. So I guess that's really how I've navigated that a bit more.
Yeah. Do you think the lesson you learned from, I wouldn't say it's the worst decision, but the lessons you got from those decisions you made, do you think that's trickled down to your personal life a bit? The way you deal with people in your personal life?
Yeah, I mean, look, I watch a lot of these fancy smancy, big time CEO interviews with David Rubenstein and all these other guys who do. And it just strikes me, everyone has a weird story when they were 16, 17. Something happens before you're 25 or something that really shapes you as a person. And so, yeah, again, I'm always listening and learning, and I've realized that a lot of the things that I've had or didn't have actually, frankly, growing up are really important in sort of getting me into a certain mindset.
Yeah. What do you think is the mindset that you have right now in life?
I think it's probably going to be some version of lead your best life and have some sort of what do you stand for as a person and figuring a bit of those things out. And then I think the next part to that would be, just try and do cool things, do good things. And frankly, or interesting enough, quite a lot of things get taken care if your heart is in the right place and mentally you're there as well.
Nice. I like that. Cool. Moving on to our next question. What do you think is the best resource you tapped on to get you to where you are today, personally or professionally?
I would say personally, it's being somewhat likable. I got to understand that at a young age. And I don't know if I shaped that myself or just enjoyed being that person because, hey, life's better to be lived that way than not. So that helps for sure. Like, you just don't be a dick. But so that's one version of that. So that's on the personal side. I just really just try and be a good person. I'm not religious or anything like that, but I just don't try and harm guys. And I think on the professional side of things is I've probably invested an insane amount of hours in just like self-learning. And probably people don't know that about me at all. But I've read an incredible amount of things. I've tried to build technology. Look, I'm a finance major and I built technology stuff on my own. I got to really understand the intricacies of quite a lot of things. So I've just really put a lot of time into learning stuff. And I think what I've become really good at is I've just been a really good first principles thinker, really practice like breaking things down and building them up again. And I just enjoy bringing that process to any functional things to solve. Downside of that is you bring that to a personal relationship or something like that, it may not always pan out. So just also having the emotional intelligence to know where you draw the line in using these processes. So I guess, that would be two things.
Very cool. Firstly, on your point about being a good person, I feel like there are religious people out there who are not good people as well. So I just think that there's no correlation between the both. Person is a good person, whether or not you're religious. I really like that because I think in today's day and age, if you're not a genuinely good, likable person, you're not going to get anything done. You're not going to move up the ladder. You're not going to make business connections. We're in a place where everything is dependent on the network and the people, and you just got to be likable. You cannot be an asshole anymore. I mean, I'm sure there are still people who are assholes who get up to where they want to. But do you really want to take that path, right? When it comes to self-learning, I love what you said. I'm keen to know and just push it a bit further. Are there any platforms you use the most?
Frankly, I don't do any MOOC type of courses. Frankly, no interest in putting a certification on my LinkedIn profile to claim that I know something. But it's kind of like I have a builder mindset. So if I want to build something lately, for example, we've got really into understanding the world of data and the technical aspects of it, the pipelines, the warehouses, all these other things. And a lot of time that were completely foreign elements to me, and just learning through these things from reading something as boring as API documentation, even though 80% is Greek, but you start to recognize structural things even in the most technical documentation. So, stuff like that, YouTubing a lot, and particularly understanding who do I want to listen from. So if this guy has done something great and interesting, I try and build my thought process around that. Obviously, a lot of these guys who they conflate luck and skill. So very easy to not figure out and not listen to those guys. So yeah, just trying to distill who would be interesting and learning. And yeah, I just read stuff to do or speak to people. Give a quick example. Probably spend 100 hours of my life just listening to Warren Buffett on YouTube. Just like anything in my life, just on the road, just listen to him, and it just improves your thought process and your thinking. And how lucky are we, right? All of these interesting folks are just a tap away and we can listen to them. And I guess maybe now I'm at a stage where I feel more comfortable with, I have some interesting point of views and some interesting takes on life. And yeah, happy to see if people want to listen to me. I'm a bit more confident in that area right now.
Nice. Yeah. I think we're also very lucky that today we have a lot of this information at no cost, right? We have podcasts. We were just talking before this about how Clubhouse, you have people like the Shark Tank guests on Clubhouse. Yesterday, I saw Tony Fernandez on Clubhouse. You had coaches like Jay Shetty on Clubhouse. These big guys are appearing on a platform where you can listen to them for free. So we've got so much at our disposal today. I would love to get you to explain how you're using technology with your company right now, because I don't want people to think that adakerja.com is just like any other job platform. Could you explain to them a little bit how you're using technology, why you're even studying all these things like API and all that kind of stuff? What is Adakerja about?
Yeah, I guess, the thing that differentiates us with a lot of the folks in Indo is that we're not a staffing agency that has built an app on the side or something like that. We're really focused on ground up. Can we build a fully digital platform? And it's really challenging to do. Look, LinkedIn alumni, right? And building a platform like that, it is a lot of luck, but an incredible amount of work. And a lot of that work is your sophistication around your product and your technology. And unless me as a founder, like we're very product-led, technology-led thinking. So I just want to make that distinction. We're not an agency or something like that. We're really here to build an interesting platform. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it should permeate, I guess, all areas of work. For example, we were remote first from the day we launched. So that itself takes a credible amount of understanding of what your remote stack would be. What do you use to communicate with, your workflows? What do you guys use to have fun with? Things like that. So that already requires a decent amount of technology, where most guys would just have an email or WhatsApp or some really archaic process. And the second part is, I think, a function of just as you have more resources, you're able to work with people who are more knowledgeable than you. And it's important to find those people. So just our sophistication in matching people to jobs, dealing with now really, for us, large data sets. These things require retooling, rethinking, and not being afraid to build, rebuild. So yeah, I'm not insanely that technical, but I would say it's just permeated from the very get-go of building a team, having that work, and then having a product that really understands how to evolve. Every step of our product has zero manual processes. So we've automated everything from day zero. And part of that is just because we know how to. So we've acquired that knowledge to do so. And I guess it's just the ethos of the company. The moment you rely on a staffing type model, it essentially makes you get lazy because you don't have to build any interesting tools. So that's probably what it is based around.
Nice. For those of you listening, for more information about Adakerja and what they do, I'm just going to add a link to the description. So definitely do check it out. I've played around with the tool before. I don't know if you ever saw my name. This was quite a few months ago. I just wanted to see how integrated and how automatic it was. And I thought it was an incredibly cool experience. Now I'm going to go
Thanks,
off.
Anna.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to go a bit off track with a last question because I'm just really keen to know you as a person a bit more, right? I know you're a new father. And if there was one thing that you would teach your kid, just one thing, what do you think it would be? You only have one thing that you can teach, nothing else.
A mindset. Short answer is just mindset. He should probably grow up in an environment or have the ability to think independently. I don't want to say anything that's too macho, be bold, like, and not all of the other stuff. I'm just more focused on, hey man, just have your own mind and be not afraid to think about things, and whatever you want to do, that's cool. So I would just say mindset. Aren't you drawn to, like, you could meet the guy playing the flute on the street, but you just get drawn to the guy because clearly he has a mindset of, if you're washing a car and the guy is going at it, right? I mean, I did some really dumb jobs, but people like me because, man, this guy, holy crap, he took this job like really seriously. So yeah, I would just probably put it down to mindset. I think a lot of things follow through after that.
Yeah, nice. I really like that. And if I just loop in with what you said at the very beginning, why not me, right? Why not me? Why? I had the mindset that I can do it, and why not me? Why? I mean, I'm just as good as someone else out there, and I'm going to make it work. So that too, I feel, is such an incredible mindset to have. Nice. Well, yeah. Well, we'll speak to your kid in about 20 years about that.
Yeah, paging him in 16 years or something.
I'll do that. Maybe he'll be a guest on this podcast. You never know. He would have his first business running at that time, be crushing it. You just never know. Great. We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to add Ashwin's LinkedIn profile as well to the description. So if you want to connect with him, do so. Well, it's our aim to get people thinking about themselves by learning from entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. And I thought you'd make a great guest since you're hustling through this new baby you're building, and it just looks really exciting. For more episodes, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and download this podcast wherever you're listening to. We have new episodes out each week, and we hope that through these episodes, without taking much of your time, you can get some food for thought, spend some time introspecting, and hopefully find some answers from within to meet your personal and professional goals. Do you have any last things to say to our listeners today?
Thanks for having me over, and really happy to connect with anyone in your community regarding any topics. Yeah, otherwise, wish you the best. Hope everyone stays safe and has a really awesome 2021. And let's put the worst of 2020 behind us.